Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me for Nazareth Contemplative Prayer this Saturday morning. And this Saturday morning, our contemplative prayer begins at the Royal Foundation of St. Catherine's here in the East End of London, very near Limehouse, where I'm staying, making films for a retreat which begins on the 19th of June, 19th to the 20th of June. If any of you are interested, you can join me on the 19th and 20th. You can register with the Royal Foundation of St. Catherine's. But anyway, I thought we'd have a little preview of the kind of place this is. It's a really beautiful place in the centre of London, and I'm going to take you for a walk now through Limehouse, and I hope we're going to see some of the beauty of the morning. Now, I do warn you, it's rather windy, so you might hear a rushing sound, and that's not the sound system, that's the wind in the camera, so forgive me for that. But I hope you experience with me the beauty of this morning. Lord, you have made us for yourself, and our hearts are restless until we rest in you. So let's get going. This is the inner garden of St. Catherine's Foundation, and it's absolutely beautiful. You wouldn't know you were in the centre of the East End when you're in St. Catherine's Foundation. It's the most beautiful place to stay. And you'll be finding out more about that if you join on the 19th of June. But let's now take a walk together. Lost a bit of connection there, but I hope we're out into the open now and you'll stay with me. So here we are, out the front doors of the foundation and into the streets of London. Lord, you have made us for yourself, and our hearts are restless until we rest in you. This walk will take us through some of the poorest parts of London, but also some of the richest. But I hope that we can sense God's presence in all things. I used to think that in order to find God, we went through a bit of network where we couldn't get the network, but I hope we're going to keep it now. I used to think that you had to be in beautiful places, in the Cotswolds or by the sea or in Dartmoor or climbing hills in Scotland in order to find God. But I have more and more realised that God is wherever you are, and even in a city, in the centre of a run-down part of the city, you can find the beauty of things and the wonder of the world. I've been out along these streets this morning, and one of the wonderful things is to remember that everyone you pass is the image of God, and that we can find God in one another. Listen to the noise and screams of the city. Here we are at Limehouse Station, and I'm going to take you down past the station to Limehouse Basin. How often we take things like an underground station or a station for granted. And yet without it, the whole of our transport system in London would be hopeless. They told me last night that it was going to be cloudy at 8, so I'm just praying this sunshine lasts for us, because everywhere looks better in the sunshine, especially a city. Lord, you have made us for yourself, and our hearts are restless until we rest in you. But we have to be careful not to get run over. Now we're going down here towards Limehouse Basin, past the rubbish. And past the beautiful arches of that railway bridge. Have you ever thought how they make those beautiful curves all with brickwork? It's an incredible bridge. And now here we come into the Limehouse Basin. Now those of you at St Martin in the Fields will know Philippa Smethurst and David Jackson. They used to have their canal boat here when they lived in London. And here we are with Canary Wharf behind us, in front of us, and there Limehouse Basin. Lord, you have made us for yourself, and our hearts are restless until we rest in you. Look at that beautiful canal boat with the sail. From the rush and noise of the city to the beauty of water. Look at the reflections on the water on this really beautiful morning. Lord, you have made us for yourself, and our hearts are restless until we rest in you. If I go up to the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed, the darkest pit, you are there also. Light and darkness are both alike to you. In you, O Lord, even the darkness is as bright as the day. Well, there's nothing dark about this morning. It's looking so beautiful. Good morning. All right, out for a cycle. Absolutely beautiful. See you. Thank you. I hope you're enjoying this walk as much as I am. I know you can't smell it or feel it, but I hope just the light is coming through your internet, and you're seeing the beauty and the sparkle of that water and the beauty of that sky above Canary Wharf. Let's go, or we're not going to get there in time. Lord, you have made us for yourself, and our hearts are restless until we rest in you. Now, David and Philippa, when they lived here on the barge, canal boat, they used to invite me for supper, and it was the most lovely place to come. And David and Philippa have that great gift of hospitality. I wonder if you know any people who have that gift of hospitality, whenever you go and visit them, they make you feel as if you're the most special person in the world. And food becomes the way of welcoming you, as well as, sometimes it has to be said, a nice glass of wine. And this is where they lived, in one of those boats. It was absolutely beautiful visiting them, and very peaceful. I wonder how we can show that same gift of hospitality even when we're not allowed to visit others. Can we still be hospitable to others just by keeping in contact, just by showing we care? At the Royal Foundation of St. Catherine's, I've been seeing how they've been preparing food parcels to send out to some of the poorest people in the East End, some of the most vulnerable. And not only is that a wonderful activity for those who receive the food parcels, but also for those who are preparing them. I could see their joy as they came in, these volunteers, to get the parcels ready. Of course, in a socially distanced way. So looking across the rooftops of these longboats, these canal boats. This is the canal which leads up to Regent's Park Canal, and down here into the Limehouse Basin. We go now around the corner towards the lock, and this is the lock that leads up into the Thames. I've always loved locks. I remember as a child coming and watching locks, watching the boats being raised up and lowered down. There's something fascinating about them. Also a bit frightening, the fear of falling in. Here is the lock now that leads up into the Thames. Runners are out in force. I think when they write the history of COVID-19, they'll write the history of people learning to run for the first time. I've never seen so many runners in London. I expect it's the same wherever you are. And now we walk through this car park, and often in order to get to the moments of inspiration, the moments of revelation, we have to walk through car parks. Sometimes it's just worthwhile looking at the car park too. But now, after the car park, comes the ecstasy. And I can think you could probably hear the sound of the wind because it's really windy. But here we are, looking out over the Thames estuary. Back towards St. Martin in the Fields. Isn't that amazing? There you are. You wouldn't think we were in the middle of London. Who says you need to go to the sea in order to find beauty? places. Now, I'm going to set off down this road, past all the runners, and you're going to have to bear with me, but it will be worth it. This is the part of London that used to be docklands, but now it's all been renovated and gentrified. I expect these houses are worth millions. But it's free to walk here. And it's a wonderful place to walk. Good morning. There's Paper Mill Wharf, but now all done up to look absolutely beautiful. Quite bijou with all these beautiful flower boxes. We walk on. We're walking towards Canary Wharf, and in a moment, or in a while, we're going to be walking along the Thames footpath. But that's a surprise in store. Now we're coming up to one of the loveliest pubs in this part of London. I know this pub because when I stay at the Royal Foundation of St Catherine's, if I need to escape, I come here for something to eat. It's called the Grapes. And if ever you're looking for a nice pub to have lunch, it has the most wonderful views out over the Thames from a little veranda at the back of the pub. And it also has the most delicious food. Food, of course, is something that God gives us to meditate upon as well. And one of the people who's often in there is Ian McKellen with his friends, because that's his local pub. So I promise you, we're nearly there. Do you remember when you were young? I remember when I was in my father's Morris Traveller asking, are we nearly there? Are we nearly there? Well, we are nearly there. We're nearly at the point where we turn off this side street back onto the Thames, and you can see the River Thames in all its glory. Have you ever thought about, when you're going along in a car and you're trying to find the perfect picnic place, and you always think, shall I stop here? Shall I stop here? And then you go on and you never find the perfect place. Well, yesterday I was walking along here and I was thinking, I wonder where I'm going to go for the meditation tomorrow. Will I find the perfect place? And I did. There's a little squirrel there. I found the perfect place for a meditation in just a moment, and we are nearly there. Lord, you have made us for yourself, and our hearts are restless until we rest in you. Come with me. Look down at a place where in the past the Dickensian mudlarks used to dive for coins. Now, walk across this bridge with me. Hear the wind now, because the wind is really, really whistling. Up onto this bridge and up to the middle of the bridge. And then down the Thames. Towards the City of London, and behind it, St Martin in the Fields. Here, over the other side of the bridge. And our hearts are restless until we rest in you. Now look at that as a place to live. Each one of those tiers of that house is a little garden. So each apartment has its own garden, looking out in all directions over this view. Well, dream on. It's never going to be a house for me, unfortunately. But perhaps I say fortunately, because as St Francis said, you know, we don't need expensive houses to be able to enjoy the things of God. This is our ceiling. This is our floor. These are our walls. This wonder of creation belongs to everyone, every one of us. I used to know an asylum seeker who was imprisoned for a long time. He was a human rights victim and he was kept in prison for many, many years. And he had one little window in his cell, and it was at the top of the cell, and he said he used to look out and say, "Look, the sky belongs to everyone." And it does. The sky belongs to everyone. And I know at this time people are really suffering and really struggling. But the sky belongs to everyone, and even in our struggles, even in the difficulties we face, we can still experience the presence of God's love, and we can still mirror that presence when we meet others. You will hear the wind howling now. You can see it in the leaves of the trees, and I'm sorry about any distortion on the sound, but I hope you can still experience the beauty of this morning. scamp snout. The beach in London. You didn't think we had beaches in London, did you? But we do. They're very muddy, but they're rather special too. As long as I don't fall. I want to read you a poem by Rumi. Everything you see has its roots in the unseen world. The forms may change, yet the essence remains the same. Every wonderful sight will vanish. Every sweet word will fade. But do not be disheartened. The source they come from is eternal, growing, branching out, giving new life and new joy. Why do you weep? The source is within you, and this whole world is springing up from it. The less longing, the more presence. The less we bang on the door, the more it opens for us. The less we demand, the more we see the beauty of the gift. The less we expect, the more the joy of the surprise. The more selfless, the more self. Clamorous need shuts us out from the things that we do need. It is the clinging which is our death. The less we cling, the more we embrace. The less we fear, the more we love. All joy reminds us it is not something we need to possess as a possession. Our love is touching and tasting and feeling and seeing. Go lightly into this day. Go simply. Feel the beauty of balance. This breathing in, this breathing out, this world in which we live, this wonder, this God. That last piece of writing was from my book, The City is My Monastery. And the name of the retreat I'll be conducting at St. Catherine's is called The City is My Monastery. It's on the 19th and 20th of this month, and you can book a place from St. Catherine's Foundation. Thank you for joining me this morning in this wind. I hope you could still hear. I've no idea. The wind is howling around me, but it is the most beautiful morning. Most beautiful sky, the most beautiful clouds, and even London's financial centre seems infused this morning with the wonder of God, just as Limehouse Station did too, with all those wonderful people we walked past. God bless, and see you next week.